Okay, today we're going to be learning about galvanic, also known as electrochemical cells. Now, often this can be a very difficult concept to grasp in chemistry, as it can often be very confusing. A voltaic cell, or an electrochemical cell, electrolytic cell is another name for it, is generally a chemical reaction that is used to produce electrical energy, which means that there is no outside electrical source that is inputting electricity into the system. So what generally happens is we have two main components, the anode and the cathode. The anode, in this case the zinc end, and the cathode is the copper end. The anode is generally where oxidation occurs, which means electrons are going to be lost. The cathode is where reduction occurs, which means it's going to gain electrons. Now, what happens is, at the anode, since oxidation occurs, electrons are transferred from the anode to the cathode. So in this case, the zinc is going to lose electrons and is going to transfer the electrons to the copper. What ends up happening is that as electrons are transferred, there's an increase in the zinc cation. And there is a increase in the decrease in the copper cation. What will end up happening is that to counteract this, as the electrons are transferred, in the zinc anode will end up losing mass because it's losing electrons, and the copper cathode will end up gaining mass because it's gaining electrons. Now, one of the important things to realize with this is that because of this transfer of electrons, there's been a disruption in the ion concentration. So like I said, by losing electrons, there's going to be an increase in zinc cations. And because copper gains the electrons, there's going to be a conversion of copper cations to just copper atoms. So what will end up happening is that there'll be a more positive charge at the anode, and there'll be a more negative charge at the cathode. So to counteract this, we have the salt bridge. The salt bridge is between the cathode and the anode, and allows for the free flow of ions between the two ends. What will end up happening is cations will flow to the cathode to counteract the decrease in positive charge. Anions will end up flowing to the anode to counteract the increase in positive charge. And this is basically the main principle behind a voltaic or galvanic cell. So in this case, we have zinc as our, just to sum up, we have zinc as our anode, copper as our cathode. Keep in mind that the anode is where oxidation occurs, cathode is where reduction occurs. A great way to remember which end has reduction is the fat red cat. Fat as in it's gaining mass, which is red as in reduction occurs, and cat because it's the cathode. So if you remember that, just apply the opposite to the anode, and you'll remember what occurs where. For further information, please contact or reference your textbook or your chemistry teacher.